So welcome to our meditation time. As you settle in where you are, just allow the eyes to gently close. And as you do that, just imagine that small act is you separating from all the distractions of the day, of the moment, of the situations that surround our lives. And so just feel so fortunate that we have this beautiful thing of just closing our eyes and bringing our focus inward. And just think what a gift that is. And then as the eyes are gently closed, begin to really notice the breath. That's slow, balanced in and out. And notice how it begins to shift how you feel when you pay attention to how you're breathing. And again, what a gift. We're so fortunate, these two amazing things, we take them with us everywhere we go. The ability to close our eyes and bring ourselves inward, and the ability to find regulation and calm through the breath. So let's just pause in just the next few breaths of quiet and just feel gratitude for what this practice reminds us of the resources and the tools that are within. And then taking our awareness a little outward, just reflect on what were you doing right before your reminder told you that it was time for meditation. Or what were you doing right before you felt this pull to pause and to sit? And then think what a gift that is as well. That we have these things in our life that remind us of the commitment we've made to pay attention to the present moment, to pay attention to what we need in that moment. And we all have the choice to respond and to keep being busy and to keep doing what we're doing, but we choose to pause. And what a gift that is as well. And so I share all of that with this idea that meditation doesn't have to be this complicated thing that we sometimes feel like we're failing at. It is simply using the tools and the resources that we have. The reminders to pause. The ability to gently close our eyes and draw our focus in. And the beautiful regulation that the breath brings. It truly is as simple as that. And so as we've gathered for these few minutes, I'm still sitting and just kind of wrestling with this concept of suffering and trying to really look at it from different angles. And I don't know why this topic has been laid on my heart, but it's like each day I come at it from a different angle and there's a new learning. So I've thought a lot in the last few days about suffering and perspective. And I found a quote that I had kind of paraphrased from Thich Nhat Hanh many years ago, and it says, when the weather is cold and you don't have on the right amount of clothes or the right amount of warmth, that cold air can make you believe that you are suffering. It can cause you pain and anxiety and distress. But, and here's my paraphrase, on a hot day in Texas, that same cold air is a source of joy. So just think about that. The air temperature didn't change. It is exactly the same. It's cold. It's whatever temperature it was that you would deem to be cold. But on a day that you don't have the right amount of warm clothes or the right amount of protection, we see that cold air as a source of suffering. But on a day when we are hot and overheated and in need of this respite from the heat, that same air at that same temperature is a source of joy. So then I thought about our meditation practice. Just think about how you're physically sitting or laying there. Sometimes for us, it can truly be a source of suffering because we pay attention to that one spot in our hip that just won't loosen up, or how the low back has some aches and some pains, or how holding ourselves straight with our spine gets really tiring, or how our mind just seems to chatter incessantly. And so this physical act of meditation causes us distress, or at least that's our perspective. But then there are moments when this act of sitting, or in whatever position you're in, with the same hips that you had the other day, the same low back you take everywhere with you, the same chattering mind, and all of a sudden you catch this glimpse of stillness and peace and refuge. It's the same act, but all of a sudden we begin to see it very differently. And so I thought, what if we could do the same with this suffering that we all encounter? There are going to be difficult things that we navigate. There are going to be tragedies in our life. There's going to be brokenness in relationships. There's going to be a lost job or a financial worry. And I could keep filling in the list for all the things that create a sense of suffering in our minds. So how do we shift our perspective the same way about the cold air or about the seat of meditation, so we can see something different? I think we go back to those resources I began with. We close our eyes. We bring our focus inward. And when the pictures and the reminders of the suffering, whatever it is right then, begin to bombard us, the eyes just gently close. And we bring our focus to our heart. We bring our focus to our spirit, to our soul, the core of who we are. And then we begin to breathe. And we use an in-breath to remind us that we are alive. And there's fullness in that breath. And then we use an out-breath to remind us of our power to release and let go. And then we have those reminders, the same way your smartphone or your watch reminds you to breathe or to stand or to move. What if you could have these reminders of focus on the joy, focus on the good, focus on the blessings, the good parts of life? Because that suffering, that thing, it's just one isolated part. And we'll rob ourselves of the beauty of this present moment if we focus all of our energy on that thing. It does not mean that we ignore it or that we don't deal with situational things that are surrounding it, or that we don't go through stages of grief, or whatever it is that is needed. It just means that it does not consume all the other parts of us. Because even when there is a tragedy, or a loss, or a diagnosis, or a failure, there are so many other parts of us that we need to see differently. We need to see that cold air like the refuge that it is on a hot summer day in Texas. The same cold air that just months ago caused us distress. The same way in meditation that we were uncomfortable for a while, and then all of a sudden we weren't. But the meditation practice is still the same. So what I'd like for us to do is just sit for these next just a few minutes together. And each of us, with our eyes closed and the world blocked out for just a little while, with our breath slow and steady and rhythmic, and with us showing up with that reminder that it was time to pause. See what can be revealed. What's revealed to me will be different than what's revealed to you. But with the distractions lessened and the breath steady, just allow your spirit to reveal and show you how your perspective can begin to shift. It doesn't mean that when meditation ends, that the suffering or the situation will be done or fixed or easier. It just means that we will choose to only see it as one part of this great, expansive life that we are living. Breathing in, I know that I am breathing in. Breathing out, I'm grateful for the breath. Breathing in, I feel the safety and the security as my eyes are gently closed. And breathing out, I'm grateful for it. Breathing in, I'm reminded of the importance of pausing. And breathing out, I'm grateful for the reminder. Just pay attention in the coming days as situations come across your path. What can you do to shift your perspective? Maybe you divert your eyes or your gaze from whatever's going on and you just gently close them and you go back to this moment right here. And you breathe in slowly and you breathe out slowly and you tell yourself, pause. Pause and look at what is in front of you with new eyes. Eyes that reflect what's inside. Not eyes that reflect this image of what's going on externally. Just think about that cold air. In my world, 50 degrees is cold. And if it's 50 degrees and I don't have on the right things, there's distress. But if the day has been hot and the sun goes down and 50 degrees comes, it is truly refreshing and it's a respite from the heat. But both times it's still 50 degrees. Let's work on our perspective and be open to whatever our spirit is trying to teach us, and see if we can begin to navigate and to see these pieces of suffering around us with new eyes, the same eyes we have right here in this moment. Namaste.